Hey makeup friends, I am so excited to be doing this video because I'm doing it in collaboration with Samantha March. I am humbled, honestly, to be doing a collab with Sam. I have so much respect for her. I think she has to be, if not the most, certainly one of the most hardworking people here on YouTube and across a multitude of platforms. She is so consistent in putting out high quality, entertaining, informative content, not only here on YouTube, but on Instagram, over on Twitter. She's on TikTok, she runs a blog, she's got a book club. She is just everywhere. She's got a podcast. She works so hard. I don't know where she finds the drive to do it, but I'm constantly in awe of her. And on top of all that, she's also just one of the sweetest people that I have met through this platform, and I'm so grateful for that. She's funny, she's articulate, she's talented, she's beautiful, and she's just a really kind soul. When I did my beauty community tag back in the summer, she was the creator that I instantly thought of when I was talking about somebody who just puts out good vibes, and I think that is Samantha to a T. I love that her catchphrase is community over competition. I think a lot of people could stand to have that reminder, and I think it's just such a powerful and positive message to put out to her audience, and I just truly have so much respect for her. So if you're not already following Samantha, definitely go and check out her channel, give her some support and tell her I said hello. Or if you are coming here from her channel, then hello, welcome. My name is Kara. I'm a working mother of two, and makeup is just my happy place. On my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I invite you to go ahead and subscribe. All right, now that we have talked about Samantha, let's talk about what this video is going to be about, and that is my top 5 one and done shadows. So these are eyeshadows that I don't need to play around with a bunch of other products. I don't need an entire palette. These are, as the name suggests, just one and done for easy, no fuss makeup. That's not to mean that they don't show up on the eyes and that they're not impactful in their own way, but it just means that I don't have to bring out a ton of products and spend a bunch of time layering things and blending into one another, pairing colors, all of that. So these are the kind of shadows that I typically reach for when I'm going to the office or on days where I'm going to be running errands and things like that, where I still want to feel polished and put together, but I really don't want to spend a ton of time on my makeup. So what I think I'm going to do is, rather than just talk you through them, I'm actually going to apply them to my eyes so that you can see what the effect of them is. I don't know. How they look. There we go. There's the workaround. So I am going to do, because I've got 5 of them, I think I'll probably just do one on each eye, and then the very last one I'm going to set aside and do both eyes and show you how I play it up. So let's just dive straight into it. First up, we're just going to talk about a single shadow here. This one is from Makeup Geek. It's one of their older ones in the circle pan. They have reformulated and put them out in square pans now, but this is the shade Bitten, and it's just a really deep, sort of oxbloody kind of color, a little bit on the plum, a little bit of red mixed in there, but this is one that can still be very dramatic on the eyes, but really doesn't take a lot of effort. I'm going to bump you in, I'm going to apply it, and I'll show you what I mean. Hi. All right, so I'm going to go in with this brush here. This is a MAC 217S, and I'm going to pick up the shadow on here. I'm going to pat it all over my lid, and then I'm going to do a little bit of blending out. Now, in order to keep this as simple as absolutely possible, I'm not going to go in with any eye primer or anything of that sort, but when I applied my concealer, I did put a tiny bit on my lids as well. I'm sure Robert Welsh would have something to say about that, but it's for the purposes of this video. In my day-to-day life, if I was applying this, I probably would use an actual eye primer, but here we are. All right, so I'm going to pat that all over the lid. And then I'm just going to, with the same brush, just blend it up a little bit, just so that it's not, because it's a deeper color, I don't just want it just on the lid and then everything else looks bare and it just kind of looks out of place. Fun fact, that was exactly how I did my makeup for many, many years because I had no idea what blending was. Enter YouTube, and here we are. It's really changed the game. But I find that just blending it up and softening out those edges just helps to make it look like a complete look. And then just with what's left over, I can just run it under the lower lash line as well. Again, just to even things out. And one of the things I really like about this shade in particular is that it just really plays up the green in my eyes. So overall, although like there, eyeshadow is done, it's really, really simplistic. It just makes my eye color pop and still looks like a completed look, especially if I just cover that up. Now, just to complete it, I will go and put on some mascara. I'm not going to bother with liner with this one, and oftentimes when I do one and done shadows, I don't bother with liner. This could certainly stand to have liner, and you could even do like a wing or whatever you wanted just to make it as dramatic or as simplistic as you want. But I find that even just adding mascara onto the top really does help to lift the lashes, make my eyes look a little bit bigger, and again, just pulls that look all together. But there we have it. Now, if I wanted, I could go in and put a little bit of my highlighter on the inner corner just to brighten it up in there. But overall, you get the idea of what the look is. Very, very simple, takes very minimal time, but in my opinion, I think it looks really pretty. All right, so to keep things even more simple, on the other side, I'm going to use this one here. This is from Hourglass, and this is the Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow in the shade Aura. And it's just a really pretty, like a cream to powder kind of finish. And I can literally just pick this up with my finger, don't even need a brush, and just pat it all over the lid. Now, because this one is so reflective, this is one that I typically don't blend up and around, but I do pat it just along where that crease is, just so that there is a little bit of it showing when I open my eyes, because I do have hooded eyes. So if I just keep it on the lid, you don't really see it, frankly. So I'm just going to build it up a little bit more. But I think this is such a pretty shade because, again, it catches the light and bounces it back, but there's not a lot of color going on. And this, just paired with a little bit of mascara, gives me that put together feeling that I'm looking for, but took all of, what, like 15 seconds? Like, it really, makeup doesn't need to be a challenge. It doesn't need to be super intricate in order for it to have sort of the desired effect. Of course, I just completely missed my lashes and dabbed myself in the face with mascara. That's what I get for talking while I'm doing this. All right, there we go. I've got that off. But you see, like, it adds a little bit of something without being super overwhelming, but it does help to brighten up my lids, especially because I do have a bit of like darkness. I have really dark shadows around my eyes just naturally. So my lid, if I don't go in with sort of like a color correcting kind of eyelid primer, they can look darker than the rest of my skin, but you put on a shade that's lighter anyways, and it just brightens everything up. I think it's really pretty. This is a big go-to look for me if I'm gonna go like grocery shopping or taking Aspen to dance class, back when we used to do that. We're in lockdown again, yay. But I think they're both really pretty. This one, obviously matte finish, but a lot more intense in terms of color. This one, shimmery, a little bit softer. I don't feel, because it's so soft, I don't feel like I have to put anything on the lower lash line, and just keeping the mascara on the top just makes my eyes look a little bit wider and brighter and doesn't produce any additional darkness underneath. So I just think it's so pretty and just so easy. All right, I'm gonna wipe these two off and then we're gonna come back for two more. Now, very similar to the Hourglass, I have this shade here from Colourpop. This is in the shade I Heart This, and it's just this beautiful metallic taupe shade, and I think it's just such high impact, so beautiful, but because it has still a little bit of warmth to it, I find that it is easy to pull off on its own. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that over on this eye, Again, just using my finger and patting it on. Frankly, I find that that's the best way to apply the Super Shock shadows from Colourpop to begin with. A brush is not always the best with them. So I'm just going to pat that on. But because I've been a little bit messy up here, I'm going to take a clean brush and just blend that edge just a tiny bit. Again, doing the same sort of technique that I did with the Hourglass, where I kind of pat it up a little bit higher, but not right up to the brow bone, just so that it's visible on my hooded eyes. I dragged some underneath, but that's not a big deal. And then I will kick up the mascara again. I didn't get it all off in washing that previous shadow off, but it could stand to be amped up a little bit. And there it is. Like, again, so simple, and yet it's so pretty. Like, it just catches the light really nicely, brightens up the eyes overall. It's not too glittery where you're having like little glitter specks all down, or where it just looks altogether too much when everything else is pretty minimal. And I should say, like, I kept the rest of my face pretty minimal for this video, but there's nothing stopping you from rocking like whatever color lipstick you want, strong blush if that's your thing, multi-chromatic highlighter, like go nuts. This is just about what I think are some of the best one and done eyeshadows, and how you play them up and showcase them is totally up to you. They still lend themselves to creativity, but you don't have to spend a lot of time blending a bunch of different colors together in order to still have a completed eye look. That's kind of the point of this. So there you have that one. Now, if I was doing my makeup and I wasn't just talking about one and done, I would probably run my bronzer through the crease as well, simply because I'd already have it out. I do have bronzer on today, and I would just do that just to add a little bit of definition. But for the purposes of this video, I'm not doing that because I just want to showcase just the shadows. All right, so now we're going to move on to this eye with product number 4. This one is the most impactful of the 5 that I'm going to show you, and it's a liquid eyeshadow. It is from Too Faced. It's one of their melted chocolate matte eyeshadows. This one is in the shade Chocolate Chai. I do have a couple other shades, but it's this one in particular that I really like because it has so much warmth to it. So I'm just going to find a good blending brush. There we go. The brush, in case you're interested, is the 767 round blender from Delium, and it's quite a densely packed brush, but it works perfectly for this kind of product. So it comes with a little doe foot. I just wipe off the excess on the lip of the tube, and then I'm just going to dot some of it across my lid. And then, working fairly quickly, but no need to panic, I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out. And then I am going to blend it up and soften those edges as well. This brush is a little bit fat to get into that inner corner, but do the best we can. Now I can start to feel it drying down now, so that's where I really want to focus on the edges. This is not a difficult liquid shadow to work with. I've worked with far worse in the past. This is definitely right up there in terms of ease of use, but I do find that you have to work fairly quickly, especially at blending out the edges, simply because adding more and then blending on top is rather difficult. It's much easier to build up pigmentation on the lid. So given the choice of spending more time blending it around on the lid or blending the edges, go for the edges first and worry about the lid later. And that's my pro tip for you. But there, you can see that just blending out the edges just softens it, warms up that whole area around the eye. But it's just such a beautiful shade. I love this one so much. I could go ahead and put some on my brush and just run it under the lower lash line. I'm not going to for right now, but I love this color, and this shadow lasts all day. It won't crack, it won't fade, it's not sticky. You can't even feel it on there. Like, there's no, I just said it's not sticky, but like, you know, sometimes you wear liquid shadows and like when you open your eyes and then close them, you can feel like a little bit of tugging. There's none of that with this. It just What you see is what you get, and this is how it's going to look like 10 hours from now. It doesn't fade. They're fantastic shadows. Once you figure out that learning curve of just how to blend them, you're golden. It's good to go. I'm actually really happy with these ones. Like I said, I have 3 of them now, and this is my favorite color, but I really like working with the formula of these. So there you have it. It can still be somewhat dramatic, but it's very, very easy to apply, minimal effort. Okay, so that is going to bring us to our 5th and final shadow, and this is by far the most minimalist of the ones I'm showing you today, and it's this one here from Makeup Forever. This is one of their artist shadows in the shade M549. It's just a cool toned brown, but I really like this for just adding definition to the crease. It's not a shade that I put all over the lid. I just put it into the crease. And to do that, I'm going to use this brush here from Volair. This is their EO3 brush. I'm just going to pick that shadow up. And like I said, I'm just going to put it into my crease and then blend it out a little bit as well, just to help elongate my eyes. And then this is one that I do run under the lower lash line as well, quite frequently. This brush is a little bit big for that, but we can make it work. It's not a big deal. So it just helps to build that shadow in a very natural looking way. And it just helps to give a little bit more definition to the eye, as you can see between the two. And this little extra blending out here just helps to lift that corner of the eye up a little bit, makes them look a little bit longer. And it just can be a little bit of a game changer, but so simple. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on this eye, and then I'm going to show you how I often sort of play this one up. And it involves eyeliner, because this just keeps the look so simple that you could just go for super dramatic lashes and a bold lip, or you can go for really fun, colorful liner, which is what I am going to do. All right, I want to prove the point that simple does not have to equate to boring, and to do that, I'm going to bust out this cobalt blue liner. This one is from Black Up, and it is their matte waterproof liquid eyeliner. There's no shade name on it, but it's the only cobalt blue they have, so should be able to find it fairly easily, assuming they still sell these. I haven't checked out Black Up in a little while, but these liners are fantastic. It's just a felt tip liner. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stop talking, because when I talk, then I paint all over my face. So I'll be back. There's the final look. The wings aren't symmetrical, but let's be honest, neither is my face, and I'm okay with that. For the products, like I said, I used the Black Up liquid liner on the upper lash line. For the waterline, I used an Urban Decay pencil in the shade Chaos. For my upper mascara, I used Monsieur Big, just a black mascara. Didn't want the cobalt to be competing with the winged liner, but for the lower lash line, I used this one from YSL. This is their Vinyl Couture mascara in shade number 5, which I believe is I Am the Trouble, but whoop, it only says number 5 on the bottom here. But this is, I mean, it's got a hefty price tag, it really does, but it is the best blue mascara I have ever used. It shows up. I have naturally very dark lashes, and yet you can see the blue. It's not just like a hint of blue. You can really see the blue on my lower lash line, and I love this one so much. So there you have it. I only have one shadow on my eyes, and yet I can still create a super dramatic look. If I wanted, I could also really punch it up with the lipstick, add a red or whatever color, but I'm just going to keep it really simple with what I'm wearing right now, let the eyes do the talking. But there's the proof that simple does not necessarily equate boring, because I don't think that this is boring at all. All right, and there you have it, guys. Those are my 5 favorite one and done shadows. I'm really excited to see what Samantha picked out, so please be sure to go over and check out her video as well. Again, tell her I said hi, maybe leave a dog emoji in her comments in honor of her beautiful girl, Aries. And I thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.